People say Halloween tricks end at midnight, but my Halloween didn't end. It followed me home. Halloween night glowed in bright orange lanterns as I finished distributing candies and decorations around the neighborhood. Kids in costumes ran past me like colorful shadows. My feet were numb, my jacket dusty from the cold wind. I finally looked at my watch, 7:03 p.m. I had barely sat down when my phone buzzed. It was Lena, my 14-year-old sister, and Noah, my 12-year-old brother. They called me together. "Come on, we're ready! Take us trick-or-treating!" I went to my parents' house to pick them up. Both were already outside, faces painted ghost white, costumes glowing under the streetlight. My parents were busy, so the night was mine to handle. I pulled on my scarecrow-style Halloween costume and drove them toward the next town. The town looked like a perfect Halloween movie. Glowing pumpkins, drifting fog, and streetlights shining like moons. Lena and Noah were excited, laughing, jumping around, collecting candies. I handed out decorations and small items I had left. People greeted us warmly, giving Lena and Noah chocolates, glow sticks, carved wooden charms. Everything felt normal, safe, until we reached the last house. At the very end of the lane stood a house I didn't remember ever seeing. Tall, silent, a single porch light flickering like it was struggling. A figure stood under it, still, not moving. A dark hoodie and a plain white mask with no expression. Lena whispered, "Why are they just standing there?" Noah gripped my arm tightly. I stepped forward. The masked stranger slowly tilted their head, the movement stiff and unnatural. They held out a small Halloween bucket toward Lena and Noah. No words, just slow breathing. Lena and Noah hesitated, but took the candy. The moment their hands touched the bucket, the masked figure leaned close to me and whispered, "See you soon." The porch light died. Complete darkness. When it flickered back, the stranger was gone. I grabbed Lena and Noah and hurried back to the car. They were shaking, and so was I. We drove home in silence. 2 days passed. I tried to forget everything, but Lena and Noah still seemed uneasy. At 2:17 p.m., my phone vibrated. Unknown number. No text, just one picture. My stomach tightened. It was a dark, grainy photo of me, Lena, and Noah standing in front of that strange house. The photo was taken behind us. Someone had been standing right there, close enough to touch us, watching. The next morning, I drove back to the town. I showed the picture to people around the area. "Do you know this house? Who lives here? Did anyone see someone in a mask on Halloween night?" Every person gave the same answer. "There's no house there. That spot is just an empty field. Nobody lives on that land." Uneasy, I walked to the end of the lane. I reached the place where I knew the house had been, but there was nothing. Just empty grass. No porch, no path, no foundation, not even disturbed soil. Like a house had never stood there at all. My heart pounded. Suddenly, my phone buzzed again. A new message from the same unknown number. "You shouldn't come back." I spun around. No one. Only wind whispering through the grass. Something had followed me from a house that didn't exist. A final vibration. Another picture. This time the photo showed my front door, taken just moments ago, and in the corner of the frame, a familiar hooded figure stood, still, waiting, watching. Halloween wasn't over for me. It had only just begun.
The town had already fallen asleep by the time I drove home from work. My company paid well for overtime, so staying late wasn't unusual. But tonight, the darkness felt heavier, like the streets carried secrets. All the houses on my lane were quiet, the windows dark by 9 every night. It was the kind of town where people didn't just sleep early, they disappeared into silence. My girlfriend was out of town with her parents, visiting her childhood home for the weekend. So for once, the house felt bigger than usual, like the walls were listening. I unlocked the door, stepped inside, and the warm glow of the living room greeted me. I reheated the dinner my girlfriend had left for me, neatly labeled like she always did, and ate quietly, the sound of the fork against the plate echoing in the empty space. Outside, the town was having Halloween celebrations earlier in the evening. Kids in costumes had been running around when I left for work. But now, with the street dark and silent, the leftover decorations swayed in the breeze. Plastic skeletons topping against fences, orange lanterns flickering intermittently, and scarecrows standing like forgotten sentinels. I changed into comfortable clothes, set up a blanket on the sofa, and turned on a horror movie. The screen lit up the entire living room, casting blue shadows across the walls. The opening scene started with a low rumble of music, and I pulled the blanket closer. Being alone in a silent house at night always made the movie 10 times scarier. Halfway through the film, just as the soundtrack fell to a whisper, I heard a knock. Not from the front door, not from the back, but from the side door, the one almost nobody used. I paused the movie, heart thumping. The knocking came again, softer this time, like someone was trying not to be heard. I walked carefully to the side door and slowly peeked through the small frosty window. The entire pathway was empty, clean, clear, untouched. No one. Just the cold night air swaying the Halloween lantern outside. I exhaled, maybe too loudly, and returned to the sofa, telling myself it could have been the wind. Old wood always had strange sounds. The movie started again, and I tried to sink back into the plot. But my body was tight, alert, as if waiting for something else. Then it happened again. Another knock. But this time, from the back door. My heart dropped. This knock wasn't light. It was direct, confident. I muted the TV, pulse hammering in my ears, and walked toward the back of the house. From the side of the curtain, I lifted a corner of the fabric just enough to peek outside. A man stood there, a man I had never seen before, and in his right hand, partly hidden behind his jacket, was a pistol. Not pointed at me, but clutched tightly, almost concealed, like he didn't want anyone to notice. My breath froze. He shifted slightly, scanning the yard. Even from inside, I could see the tension in his shoulders. I stepped back quietly, hands trembling. My phone slipped slightly from my fingers as I unlocked it and typed 911. I whispered everything, the knocks, the man, the weapon. The operator's voice was calm, steady. Stay on the line. Do not confront him. Tell me everything he does. So I whispered updates, step by step, as the man outside stood completely still like a statue in the moonlit yard. Then, without warning, he stepped forward and hit the window near the door. Not a punch, not a full-force smash, but just enough impact to break the glass near the edge. Splinters scattered on the floor with a chilling crackle. The operator's voice tightened. Move somewhere safe in the house. Help is on the way. I backed up, trembling but trying not to be soundless. My footsteps were careful, controlled. I reached the kitchen, grabbed the largest knife, not for fighting, but because being empty-handed felt terrifying. From the hallway, I heard the sound of footsteps outside circling the house. Slow, deliberate, like he was searching for an entrance. I crouched by the kitchen counter, staying low, eyes glued to the doorway. Every tiny sound, the wind, the rustling of leaves, even the hum of the refrigerator felt amplified. The house felt alive with tension. The operator whispered in my ear, "Officers are 1 minute away. Stay calm. Keep eyes on any movement." But my breath trembled. I could hear the man just outside the broken window, breathing, shifting, maybe deciding what to do next. The moonlight through the blinds stretched across the floor like thin silver blades, cutting the darkness into eerie shapes. Then, lights flashed outside, blue and red, faint at first, brighter. Sirens approached, not wailing loudly, but quick, controlled, almost silent, a tactical approach. The man outside froze. A moment later, commands echoed through the night. "Drop your weapon! Hands where we can see them!" I couldn't see the full scene from my position, but I heard movement, shouting, footsteps rushing. The tension in the air snapped like a tightrope cut free. Within seconds, the operator confirmed, "Officers have him. You're safe now." I set the knife on the counter, my hand still shaking so hard I could barely feel my fingers. When I finally stepped outside and saw the police lights illuminating the yard, the man was already restrained. His face was expressionless, cold, calculating. A person who looked like he didn't fear consequences. An officer approached me, explaining that they'd been tracking him for days, someone clever, unpredictable, and dangerous. He'd chosen my house because the lights were off in the neighborhood, because it was quiet, because he thought I was alone. But he hadn't expected the call. He hadn't expected the police to arrive so quickly. When they finally drove away with him, the night returned to silence. But this time, it felt different. More alive, more aware. I stood on the porch, watching the shadows ripple across the empty street. The Halloween decorations swayed gently in the wind, but now they felt like warnings rather than celebration. I locked the doors, checked the windows twice, and sat in the living room with the TV on, not for entertainment, but for company. Tonight, the horror movie on the screen wasn't the scariest thing. Reality was, and I would never forget the knock after 9.